Hello everybody and welcome to the market shift of 2022. Here we are once again, not in a market crash. We are shifting currently from a seller's market to a buyer's market. How much of a buyer's market will we go to? Well, only time will tell. Today I want to talk about one of the benefits of this transitioning market is the increase of inventory and people's lack of awareness of it, or people's inability to transition well. Because let me share a story with you. I currently listed a house about last weekend, and I noticed there's a trend with some agents where they're still telling their clients, hey, we need to offer $30,000 more on this, when they had no business offering that much because there wasn't a multiple offer situation. The agents are simply still in the habit of doing this, and they did it. Well, push comes to shove. It made me look great as a listing agent. However, the buyer ended up backing out because the house was too small. Did you even look at the house? Agents are going to be unable to transition, or they're going to still tell you to do certain things that maybe is not as beneficial to you now in this transitioning market. So I want to talk about how you can take advantage of that. So what I mean by transitioning market, well, first and foremost, I've actually been tracking the data on my end. I know I would show you guys the MLS data all the time, but here's a quick little sneak peek of how it looks like, essentially, so you can kind of see what's going on. So on May 13, 2022, when I started tracking data, we were at a total active listings of 8,845. These are combining our active and our coming soon as of that day. Like, we freeze it in time, chink chink, and that's how it would look like. And you can see as time progressed, that number started slowly rising. And as it continued to go higher, it reached eventually on May 27th, which was last week, 10,252, and now we're pretty steady in the mid. And of course, weekends usually are a little more higher, so it peaked up a bit and it went a little bit down. I anticipate this is going to go down slightly as well. But that's where we're in, and we're seeing our pending numbers starting to drop very, very slightly. We started in May 13th, 10,949 pending listings. We went we were in the 11,000s consistently, and then it slowly peaked under 10,300 is where we ended at as of Monday. So yeah, you can see the sold number staying steady, dropping slightly, going up. You're seeing that active number continuing to go up slightly, and that pending number staying strong. So why I tell people it's not a crash, because pending numbers are still staying strong. Yes, it's going to start shifting, on a downward spiral, but that's what happens in a transitioning market. Buyers have more power in a buyer's market, whereas sellers have more seller power in a seller's market. And it's going to be a very slow transition into a buyer's market where people won't have to overpay as much. We're seeing our average list to sold price just slightly. We were average list price 588 market wide May 13th, and we're about 584. But then there's some days where it's 589, 587. One thing that happens though is our sold number is still staying pretty much consistent with, like, I think $8,000 to $10,000 from our list number. If you want to see a visual representation of that, I mean, you can see here it's it goes up and it goes up and it goes up and down, but as you can see, the general trend is still about the same, and you notice that sold number is still higher than the list number. So that might be in your area something that's still happening. Yes, it goes up and down, it fluctuates, but that sold number is still staying 5,000-10,000 above value. It would be great if your agent can track these numbers, and honestly, I think most people could. If you're an agent and you do track these numbers, I would love if you can send me an email, because I can only track Phoenix numbers, unfortunately. If I only had access to all the MLSs, I could really kick some ass. So anyways, that was the market breakdown. Now let's talk about how you can take advantage of essentially a market shift or shifting market to a buyer's market. So first and foremost, let's go over some pointers here. You do not need to overpay for every single house. We were in a market for the past 1 or 2 years where every house was like hot poop. If that thing had doors and windows on it, offer $40K on that. Over. If you're in California, offer $100,000 more. That's how it was, because we saw some numbers here in Phoenix where some months were like 4,000 or 5,000 inventory, and there were still 12,000 sales. It was insane. It was insanity. Well, now with more inventory, you can be more selective of the house you pick. So if there's, you go on a weekend and you see 5 houses, you don't have to settle for one. If you don't love it, just wait for the next weekend. And this is frankly the way it should be, and this is the way I remember real estate being when I started. And I remember like 11,000, 10,000 houses are selling per month, but there's 10,000 active. So there's a good flow of listings coming in and out. If you don't mind, please, in the comment section, let us know what city and state you're in and tell us how things are there. Personally here, I'm telling you, in probably majority of places, you won't have to overbid as much. Now, you will still encounter a house that might get a multiple offer situation that goes way crazy, like I did this weekend. There was a really gorgeous house in a gorgeous neighborhood, and it still sold 25K over. That's great. That's always happened. There's still situations like that, or there's still realtors out there that are telling their clients, hey, this is what we need to do. But as time progresses, we're currently in June, as more months go in, you're going to start seeing less and less of that. Really evaluate the situation. You might walk into a listing on Saturday and there'll be plenty of showings. But just before you rush that offer, have your agent call the next day just to see, hey, do you have any offers? You're going to notice a lot. What I'm noticing is a lot of listing agents are shocked right now because, listings were the easiest thing for the past 2 years, but now it's like, holy crap, this thing's not selling. I better do something to freaking get this sold. My second piece of advice is I always tell people to be aware of your situation. If you're making a higher offer on your property, look at the comps, look at the neighborhood. Are you pushing the value of that neighborhood? Are you meeting the value? Or are you bringing the values down? You have to be aware, and you have to ask yourself, which one of these are you doing? There might be some neighborhoods that just stay solidly that expensive. So for things to stay solid, there's going to be some houses that sell under price and some houses that sell above, right? It's not going to be like a house values keep selling up and up, and it's going to keep rising it down. Or maybe you look at the solds and you see that actually there's houses that are selling cheaper and cheaper and cheaper than the trends going down. So what you want to do is you want to get a good maybe 30, 60, 90 day comp of the neighborhood. Don't ask for specific comparables of your house. Just get a general idea of home sales. So for example, let me give you an example of what you should be asking for. Let me log in real quick. Password is Kyle Bussy 69. Okay, there's one house for sale here in this neighborhood I picked, okay? So let's say we're comping out or getting a good idea of this house here. Open Door, yay, Open Door, our favorite company. So this is what you ask for. Don't ask for just the house for this specific square footage or anything like that. You want to first identify, is this a neighborhood? Is this a subdivision? What is this exactly? So I can do something like this. I personally know this area, and I know that generally like maybe a good half-mile radius, they're about the same. And ASU West campus is kind of benefiting the whole neighborhood. So I'm going to do maybe like a half mile. I'll do a mile radius. That's fine. Yeah, they're all about the same range, same, year built. There are some newer houses here. I am going to remove the year because I don't want those new houses to mess with the data. But that's it. You don't want to go too crazy with the bedrooms. You don't want to do just some light general vibes. You want to get the same vibes of that specific house. Oops, I put square footage. Let's do year built. Must be going on my damn mind. Okay, there you go. So here's what you do. Get the last 60 days of sales of everything there. You're going to get a crap load of data. Okay. I'll tell you that for sure. You're going to get a crap load of data. I would actually, now that I'm looking at it, probably remove the like townhouses and all that stuff. So there, you're gonna get a crap load of data, but just look, what am I looking for? So this house that we're comping was 500,000, right? So let's see what's sold around 500,000. Yeah, you can tell the quality of the ones that did sell for a lot more. Newer-ish house, pool, fancy stuff, right? So basically, out of the 38 sales, only 2 houses sold above 500,000, and the ones that sold above 500,000 are in pretty good shape. We are comping out this one. Compared to the ones that sold for a lot more, this is not very nice. I mean, it has a pool, it has a lot of space, but we're looking at the comps, it's not that great. Once again, we're not focusing on square footage, we're not focusing on specific details, we're just getting a general vibe. Okay, so let's start figuring out which house does it match more. Even this house has a huge bigger lot, RV gate, probably this one looks in great shape, so probably not this one. This one has nice remodeled RV gate. This probably doesn't match that. This is probably more of the vibe it matches. So 470. This one has a pool, so that kind of gives me the conclusion this house is probably not worth 500. It's probably worth 470 to 480. So if you're really into the data, what I recommend you do is get an Excel sheet and just write this data down. Address, the list price, the sold price, how many days, what kind of loan type. Let me show you guys something I got. This is something I have as a research tool on my website. If you go to javiervidana.com/resources, you can get yourself a copy of this, but you don't have to buy it. You could literally make your own. Like address, list price, sold price, and you can calculate the difference between this two, the loan type, the list dates and under contract date, so that way you can calculate the days on market. With this tool, you can write all this information down and it'll give you a good summary of what the average list price is, how many percentage of houses sell over list, how much percentage of them sell under list, how much of some percentage sold at list. So you can get a good idea of if you're gonna have to overbid or underbid, what your loan success percentages are. You really write it all down and get a good feel of the neighborhoods. This seems excessive, but now more than ever, your hard work in looking into the data is going to be rewarded. While everybody is just kind of half-assed listening to the realtor's advice and offering more on properties, you want to make sure to take your time, look at the data, and try to get a house that's maybe going a little bit under. Listen, this market's weird. No one knows what's going to happen, despite what YouTube says. But at the end of the day, there's like certain neighborhoods here, especially in Phoenix, where that are selling above million, that are still selling at a rapid rate, and they're still selling above list. But then there's other neighborhoods that are cheaper that haven't ourselves as high. So it's not going to be universal. It's not going to be a general rule that everything's going up or everything's going down. Every neighborhood will be different. You want to make sure to do your research and whatnot. So, and my final piece of advice for everybody is be okay walking away. It's okay to walk away. That's probably a little better. So when you're negotiating, buyer's market equals buyer leverage. You have leverage as a buyer to get the thing done. There's more inventory coming, so you should feel a little more power. So if you're, don't be within reason. Don't be lowballing like 50K or 100K and be that guy. Chill, bro. But if you did your research and you notice, this house is worth 10K under or 15K under, and I don't feel like I want to overpay, and you make an offer, you're the only offer, and the seller says, no, I'm not doing anything. Be okay walking away. Once again, sorry. It's okay to walk away. Usually in negotiations, whoever's willing to walk away is usually who wins. So just say, thank you, I appreciate it. Tell your realtor, hey, let them know we appreciate it, thank you. And then walk away. And who knows, maybe next weekend or the following weekend, they might reach out to you and say, hey, we're sorry, we want you back, baby. I'm honestly looking forward to seeing buyers take more control in this market. I've been in absolute misery having to be at the mercy of builders and sellers. So I'm excited. This is where I thrive and really give people good advice on how to win. So I wish you guys the absolute best. If you guys have any questions, please know. And if you want buyer resources, I have all kinds of like calculators, like cash to close calculators and stuff like that. Go to javiervidana.com/resources, links in the description if you guys want to check any of that out. And of course, if you're looking for an agent referral, you know what to do. homeandmoney.com/Javier. A link is in the description. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. You have a good day. Kyle Bussy 69.